Hello and welcome to the award-winning Next 2.0 with me, Marcus Atkinson, where we are committed to representing the public's voice, your opinions, your concerns, and your vision for what comes next. This show is proudly produced by Black Cess Media. Working behind the scenes to make this episode possible is Aaron Cronin. I am here today solo in studio. I don't have a co-host. I usually do. To learn more about Next 2.0, you can visit Facebook and like the page. You can also follow us on Instagram at Next 2.0 Erie. There you can keep up with upcoming show promos, events, and clips about what's next for our community and our democracy. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today I'm here with a very special guest, Coach Shannon Pulliam. Shannon, welcome to the show.
Thanks.
And let me introduce him correctly, Hall of Fame coach, Shannon Pulliam.
Yeah, you can say that.
I can say it because it's actual. When it comes to basketball in Erie, especially inner city Erie, well, in the Erie period, Erie City, Erie County, Coach Pulliam's name is synonymous with coaching. He's coached some wonderful teams at Strong Vincent. You also coached at Keystone Academy when that was going on. And you've had a very storied career thus far, and I'm sure the best is yet to come. Let me walk backwards and start with you, because it dawned on me that a lot of people don't really know you personally, and you're kind of a guy who keeps to himself. If you don't know you from growing up around you or working around you, you're a personality a lot of people know very little about other than coaching. Take us back to your school days. You grew up in the Erie School District, correct?
Yes, in middle school or grade school, I went to St. Pat's, which is no longer there. It was a parochial school down between German and Holland. I grew up on 17th Street, but I went to I was in the parochial system. My 9th grade year, I went to East High. Played varsity my junior and my senior year. I left there and went to Slippery Rock University and played. That's where I graduated from. And I really didn't get into coaching until a chance meeting with one of my mentors growing up, and it was a lot of people's mentors, basketball wise, was Alan Poole. I ran into Alan Poole at Dee's cigar store. And I gave him a ride, and we was talking. And at the time, he was coaching at Central Tech. He was a JV coach, and he was like, "Poole," he said, what are you doing?" I said, "I'm just working." At the time, I was working at the Housing Authority as maintenance, and I was like, I'm not really doing nothing. He said, "Man, come on and help me coach." So I started coaching with him, and then mid-season, he said, "Man, I'm walking away." And I was like, "What you mean?" He's like, "No." He said, "This is my way of getting you in." So, he gave me my shot at coaching. And he was very instrumental in a lot of basketball players in our era's development. He was the one that was doing the training. He was opening up the King Center gym, from Walt Stone, Stacy Hitt, the Blanks boys, myself. I can go on to Charles Hollis. I can go on to I don't know if I said Francis Spearman. I can go on and on. He's the reason why a lot of those guys went to college. Mm-hmm. And I kind of patterned myself, mold how he molded me, and I try to uplift, young black coaches and black players myself, not just just the community.
I know we talked about the Martin Luther King Center before, and there's a memorial image of Alan Poole in the middle of the floor right now, and Stacy Hitt. Well, I think it's Dr. Hitt now.
Mm-hmm, yeah, Dr. Hitt.
Yeah, he was instrumental, and we actually started the movement in order to get that done. We've got the platform right there at the King Center as well, and Alan Poole was someone that was extremely influential in, as you pointed out rightly, a lot of people's lives, whether they played sports or not, but especially in the sports arena. And I think everybody has a fond memory of Alan Poole. So this is what got your love for coaching. This is what got you started into coaching in the first place.
Yes.
Okay.
Through Alan Poole.
So give me the learning curve, man. So you get into coaching. What are some of the things when you first started coaching that you decided, man, I really love this aspect of it? And then the things that made you say, you know what, I don't know if I can handle this part. Like, what were the learnings for that?
To be honest, basketball has been a part of my life since the 4th grade. Mm-hmm. So, it's really, it's built in my DNA. But I've always wanted to be around the game. And coaching was a way of me still being around the game, and basically giving back to my community. So I coach like I was raised. If your grades aren't good, you can't play for me. If you don't work hard and you're not punctual, you can't play for me. So that's my upbringing, both at home and my community. Kind of is what I'm trying to do. Try to give back to the young men and young women. Through my AAU stuff too.
Mm-hmm. Now, how long have you been coaching?
Shoot, I've been a head coach, high school head coach for 20 years. I've been coaching for, I want to say 26, 27. I coached 4 years at Mercier's Northeast as a head coach of a junior college, and I was an assistant at Gannon for a year, and I was 2 years at Keystone. So I've been around this for about 26, 27 years. I don't know the exact. I started coaching in 1999 as an assistant. Like I said, I've been a head coach in the Erie public school system. I'm going into this is my 20th year.
So coaching is one of those things where, a lot of people try it. I don't care if you go to a rec game or high school, junior high, at some level, it seems like everybody puts their hand to it. Oftentimes they get involved because their kids are playing in some sort of sport or what have you. But as you move up the ranks, high school, junior high, college, it's one of those things where some people are just very successful at it. Some people not so much. Talk to us about what it is that you think has made you a successful coach.
First of all, any coach, you got to have some talent. I've been fortunate to have some great talent around me, from Joe Revere as my first point guard to David Morris, to Delquan Warren. I've been blessed to have, good athletes and great kids, as far as I done lost my train of thought.
You've had some great talent around you. You were naming some
and then
standouts.
And then you're only as good as the people you got surrounding you. I've been blessed to have great coaches, assistant coaches, loyal coaches, guys that know the game, and guys that are mentors to young men. Everyone that I've had, they might have not have been. Everybody brought something to the table, whether it's offensive or defensively, whether it's being a spiritual guy, whether it's being a father figure and holding kids accountable. That is what I've been blessed with, and I wouldn't have the success that I've had if it wasn't for, like I said, the players, and if it wasn't for my coaches, all the way through from day one.
Mm-hmm. You've had some of your assistant coaches going to be head coaches in other places, haven't you?
Yes, Ron Paisley was one of my assistants.
And he's doing a phenomenal job out of Iroquois.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. I don't know who else. My train of thought. That's that old
Absolutely.
age.
That's okay. But I know a lot of people that have learned underneath you are doing great things. As a matter of fact, I was speaking to my son's coach at his school yesterday after a tournament that we had, and he was going over some offensive schemes that he learned from Craig Fomich, who's one of your assistant coaches as well. And there's just so many different stories attached to some of the coaches that have coached underneath you, that continue to coach underneath you. You brought up the talent that you've had, that you've coached over the years. And I wanted to talk about you named a couple of them, but when you think back to the players that had the biggest impact on you as a coach, give us that player, those players, and why.
Biggest impact how?
Biggest impact in terms of, it could have been personally, right? Certainly from a coaching perspective. Let's just start from coaching, because talent is a big thing. I look at Delquan Warren. He's a once-in-a-lifetime talent out of Erie.
He is.
Right?
He is.
Dave Morris was another, right? Who are some of the more talented kids that you coached? And talk about those players and what made them stand out in your mind.
Like I said, I've been blessed with some very talented players. But one that sticks out is Maurice Williams. Maurice was, he's a heck of an athlete. He might have been the best athlete I've coached in my years, because he was a do-all. He could rebound. He could score. He could defend. He also played football too. But I would say Maurice, but it's it's hard. To,
yeah.
you know what I mean? It was a lot of them. You know, it was a lot of them. But you know, the most impactful I thought was coaching my son and coaching my nephew. You know, it was a trying time coaching them because we were always together 24/7. But it actually brought us closer together as a father and a son. You know, we had our trials and tribulations, you know, on the court. It was more so he didn't understand. I'm holding you to a higher standard. I have to hold you to a higher standard because if I let you get away, then I'm, you know what I mean, other players are looking and saying, well, he can do this.
Right.
You know what I mean? So a lot of times young men don't realize the tough love and the expectations and accountability until they get, you know, to, you know, older age.
Yeah. Yeah. Dave Morris currently holds, was it the scoring record for, what's his scoring record?
His scoring record is for Erie County. You know, I think he scored over 2,200 points. And it's ironic. We were just talking about this on the way to our game on Saturday. Avery Collins has a chance to surpass Dave if you know, this year, which is a great accomplishment. You know, records are made to be broken. So, you know, for somebody, you know, and a lot of people say, you know, I'm talking about Avery right now. A lot of people say, well, he's playing at this level, he's playing at that level. 2,200 points is 2,200 points, no matter what level you're playing at.
You ain't lying.
You know what I mean? You know, they try to compare, contrast, you know, the schedule that Dave played because we do play a hectic schedule. You know, but like you know, and I in defense, I was like, man, 2,200 points, 2,200 points, no matter what level and who you're doing against, because I ain't scoring no 2,200. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, that's a lot of consistent scoring for anybody.
You know, so you know, it's basketball around here. It's a lot of talent. It's always been talent here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's about the kids getting exposure. We want that for the kids to get.
Yeah. And so at some point, I want to start talking about the Royal Rumble because you got a tournament coming up here soon. I want to inform the listeners and the viewer about, but I want to go back to like literally the most exciting high school basketball game I have watched in Erie. And that's when you had Keystone Academy going. And that battle against Donda Academy, man, if you weren't in the gym for that game, that was the most exciting high school. It felt like a college game.
Yeah, it was very exciting, but what made it more exciting was the college coaches that was in the building.
Oh yeah,
you know,
talk about that.
You know, we had John Calipari in the building. You know, we had DePaul's coach. I think his last name was Stubbs. We had Robert Morris in the building. We had Duquesne. We had Pitt. You know what I mean? It was just the atmosphere. It was just phenomenal. Yeah. You know, and it's unfortunate that, you know, we only had a 2-year run. You know, but doing those 2-year runs, it was exciting to coach. You know, because we were playing with a shot clock and we were playing at a high level every night. You know, there was no, I'm trying to figure out what I'm trying to say, but the competition was there. You know, it was, you know what I mean? It was, you know, and it was a lot of travel, but you know, it was great. It was a great experience.
Mm-hmm. And as Coach Pulliam is talking about all the different coaches that were in the building for that game, one, Delquan Warren, highly recruited kid. He's at Mississippi State right now.
Well, Delquan's at Mississippi State. We had Jan. He had went to St. Bonaventure. He's recently, and I think he's at Sacred Heart now. Matar went to Nebraska. He's at Stetson. We had Khalil Horton, who's at Coppin State.
He's doing well at Coppin State.
Yeah. So, you know, a lot of kids went, you know, high major, you know, D1, and that was the most rewarding thing, is to seeing these guys get the opportunity not only to get their education paid for, but to make money out of NIL deals too. You know what I mean? So that was the goal for Keystone, and you know, just glad that out of those 2 years we have some kids playing at the highest level.
Absolutely. And in that battle with Donda Academy, I know you had Ja'Kai Howard on that team for Donda Academy. He's at Arkansas right now, I want to say. And Rob Dillingham was a huge draw for that. He went on to Kentucky from there, went number 8 in the NBA draft to the Minnesota Timberwolves. And so, I mean, that battle between him and Delquan Warren was one for the ages.
That was epic. That was epic. Yeah, that was epic. I didn't realize how good Rob was until I saw him in person, because a lot of these kids, these players, I didn't know. The kids knew about them because I'm not a big social media guy,
Right.
but the kids knew. That's even like when we played Mikey Williams in Jersey. They were treating him like he was a rock star. You know what I mean? I'm talking about the fans down in Jersey. I'm like, who is this kid? They was kids like, you don't know who this is? No, I don't know who he is. But it was just that type of competition in the high level of kids that are now playing in the NBA.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You brought up the shot clock. I know the PIAA voted it in. It goes into effect, I want to say, the 27-28 season. 28.
I think it's either 27-28 or 28-29, which to me is crazy. I'm a proponent of the shot clock because that's basketball.
Exactly.
There is no, because some teams you play, and this is the rules. You really can't you can't fault them, but like some teams, if they got an 8-point lead, that's like having a 20-point lead. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But with the shot clock, I think it's more. It brings more strategy to the game. Right. You know what I mean? You can play zone. If you're down, you still got a chance to come back because it's about possessions, and with the shot clock, it's about executing. You know what I mean? It's about it's a different strategy. That's what I like about playing the Keystone. We play with a shot clock, and that's what I like going to New York and playing, because New York has a shot clock. Mm-hmm. So it's a different style of game. It's I think the pundits that don't are not supporting it, I think but they're not going to have no choice but to like it. But it'll change the game,
right? Because no matter what level of college you go to, whether that's Division II, JUCO, or what have you, the shot clock is a part of the collegiate game. And so if that's the case, and certainly for a lot of kids, a goal is to go to the next level to some extent. You want them to get acclimated to the game that they'll be playing on a college level. Shot clock is a huge part of that. The Royal Rumble, how long have you been doing this tournament?
This will be the second year. We did it last year. It was our initial inaugural tournament, and we brought some great talent up. And as a matter of fact, 2 of the teams are coming back. We have Rich Township coming out of Chicago, Illinois suburb, who made it to their state, where they made it. They won states 2 years before. Mm-hmm. Then last year they made it to their Final Four. In Illinois, they have Final Four weekend. You know what I mean? So, and then we have Rochester East, who was ranked number 1 in one of the divisions all year last year. Then we're bringing up Youngstown Cheney. So it's an event that it's going to be some high level basketball. That Rich Township team last year was the best team I've coached against, besides Imhotep. Mm-hmm. When I coached for Strong Vincent, we played them in the state championship. Yeah. A team that wound up being in the top 3 in the nation. But that Rich Township team, I think that would have been a good game with them and Imhotep. So and they're coming back. They're well coached. Rochester East is coming back. They're well coached, and Youngstown Cheney is coming up. I really don't know too much about them as far as their pedigree, mm-hmm. but it's going to be a great event.
Got it. And that's going to be January 17th and 18th. Go back to something that you said a second ago. You were, I want to say it was the last year or one of the last years that Strong Vincent was a high school. You took them to state finals.
It actually was the last year. They actually honored our team at the school board meeting and closed the school down in the same meeting. Mm. So they honored our basketball team and they closed the school. Well, they didn't close it. They turned it into a middle school, all in the same meeting. Yeah, we made a heck of a run. I think that was 2016. That was the year with Dave Morris, R.J. Gore, Tajmir Weasel Jones, Jerome Henderson as a sophomore, and Will Will Lyons was our starting five. But this team that we have this year up at Erie High kind of reminds me of that team because we're deep. That year we were deep. I think that team was more mature because they had been playing varsity since I know Dave had been playing varsity since the 9th grade. And a lot of them had a lot of varsity experience. Just to piggyback on that, I'm the type of coach, I'm playing my best 15. I don't care if you're a freshman or you're a senior. Right. You know what I mean? So if I feel like you can contribute as a freshman, you're going to get that opportunity. Right. I don't play the pecking order. I don't, it's more so I'm going with my best 15. Mm-hmm. Because I think when Dave was a freshman and Samuel Wolford was a freshman, I started 2 freshman guards, unheard of in this area, and we had we took our lumps, our growing pains, but it made them better when they became juniors and seniors. They were battle tested because, and that's the reason why we made that run. And that's trying to model that with this Erie High team. You know what I mean? I'm the type of coach that I want to be battle tested in the regular season because I'm basically trying to get ready for playoffs. You know what I mean? And hopefully a run. So this year we have another tough schedule. We're playing one of the team out of Ohio, Garfield Heights, which has the number 1 player in Ohio. And I think he's top 50 in the nation. So, and then we're going down to Daytona Beach to play in a national tournament. We open up with a team out of Florida. We got Rich Township in Rochester East coming up, and we're going down to play some Pittsburgh teams as well. So it ain't about the record with me. It's about getting these kids, these guys prepared. You know what I mean? Whether if we win, great. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it's about getting ready. It ain't how you start, it's how you finish.
That's right. That's right. So with this Royal Rumble, say this is your 2nd year doing it. What was it like last year? How did that play out for you?
Last year, it was, it turned out good, but unfortunately, we had to do it the same weekend as the Burger King Classic.
Right.
So it was kind of split. We even had, I had some family members who, who have, grandkids and nephews playing at prep. That was like, we would like to make it, but, it's the same weekend. So this year we staggered it. I think theirs is the week before, ours is the week after.
Gotcha.
So hopefully, the community can come out and the city can come out and watch, another weekend of great basketball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that was a good move. There's a lot of inner city kids that play for Cathedral Prep, that attend Cathedral Prep, and so I can only imagine, knowing some of the families that are at Cathedral Prep, I can only imagine that probably was a dilemma for a handful of families. But that works out well, and so obviously you've got some high level basketball going on this year. I'm sure there'll be some media coverage around it. And where will it be played at? It'll be played at your gym or Erie High?
It'll be played at Erie High.
This will be at Erie High.
Everything's at Erie High. And we also going to have on that Sunday, we're going to have like a 6th grade showcase of some of the public school teams playing against some of the other surrounding teams, nice. as a prelim. I think it would be like 3 or 4 games.
Very nice. Very nice. Erie High's going through some changes. Last time I was at Erie High, I was there for your youth showcase, your team showcase. Was it right before Thanksgiving or right after?
It was Thanksgiving weekend.
Thanksgiving weekend. And I noticed that there's a lot of renovations going on. You've got your concession stand and everything getting ready. A lot of those things, will they be up and running by the time your Royal Rumble hits?
We hope so. I think we used the concession stand at our first game, which was last Tuesday, I think. Yeah, so the concession stand is open. It wasn't fully operational yet for hot food because I think the health department still has to come in and inspect it. But by that time, hopefully by our next home game, mm-hmm. which is the 16th, that hopefully it'll be up and running so we can do hot food too.
Excellent. So listen, talk to the audience a little bit. Tell them a little bit about the Rumble. Give them your elevator pitch as to why they should come out and check this tournament out.
Well, basically, it's going to be some high-level basketball. We have a team coming out of Chicago, Richfield Township, which was phenomenal last year, and they had a lot of underclassmen on that team last year. We have Rochester East coming from Rochester, New York, which is a perennial power up in Rochester. They were ranked #1 last year for most of the season. And then we have Youngstown Cheney that's coming up from Youngstown. This will be the first time for them participating. It'll be the first time I think that Erie High has played a team out of Youngstown, which is usually has great basketball teams. Then you have Erie High. We're building year. Last year, we were under 500, but we were young, inexperienced. This year's team has a lot of got a lot of experience from last year. We've been in the weight room since March, since our loss to McDowell, and we're going 9 to 10 deep, maybe 11 deep. So it's going to be some exciting basketball, some high level basketball, and it's something for the community to come out and enjoy.
All right. Hall of Fame coach Shannon Pulliam. Shannon, thank you for coming on the show today.
All right. Thanks, Marcus. I appreciate it.
All right. And so that's it for our show today. You can tune in next time for more discussion and analysis with local and national guests. Remember, the Next 2.0 streams on Fridays on all major podcast platforms and the fourth Sunday of the month at 4 p.m. on WQLN PBS, which is 91.3 FM. If you want to leave a message, comment, or suggestion for the show, you can call the Next hotline at 814-240-8816. We look forward to hearing from you. I'm Marcus Atkinson. Join us again so that you can hear about what's next for our communities and our democracy. Peace.